will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated.
All right, Ronan Hart again with the Samuel Proctor Oral History Program, February 6, 2023 in Tigert Hall with the Won't Back Down protest, and I'm speaking to, you can just sort of pass it down the line.
My name is Sofi-Nicole Barreiro. I'm 24. I'm a graduate student.
Murielle LeMaire, 25, a student in the Masters of Latin American Studies.
Sarah Dominguez, I'm 22. I'm a master's student getting my master's in Latin American Studies, and I also got my undergraduate degree here at UF.
And I'm Tania Trejo-Mendez. I'm 24. I'm also a graduate student in the Masters of Latin American Studies program.
Do you guys want to just each say what you're doing here today?
Yeah, at least for me, I have a vested interest in education, and especially education in Florida. So to see the attacks on our educational institutions, our faculty, our staff, our graduate assistants is really hurtful. These are issues that affect all of us across the board in Florida and the South. And I think it's embarrassing to admit that I go to UF amidst all this, and to be kind of, I don't know, kind of criticized maybe a little bit for taking my talents here. And I want to support the people that said that Florida is not a lost case. Like, we have the power to do something. Yeah.
Being a first-generation graduate in my family, it's completely absurd that the university that I've chosen to do my studies in treats diversity so horribly. And it's absolutely crucial for diversity to continue, especially racial diversity. It's a matter of life or death at this point. Education is not a choice. It's completely crucial, and so that's why we're here. I wouldn't be sitting around doing nothing. This is really important.
I actually grew up in Gainesville, and I've always seen UF as being like a liberal center of the town that brings a lot of research, international students, international people, big ideas. So to watch it kind of degrade with this political stuff is embarrassing for me as a Gainesvillian. But I came back to go to UF to go to a globally focused and diverse program. And I've watched professors leave already within the 2 years I've been here. I've heard from my cohort and other students that they are not supported, and it's frightening and saddening to me, so I want to fight for a better UF and a better Gainesville.
Yeah, to kind of echo what some of my colleagues here have said, I'm here today because I'm pissed off. I am also incredibly disappointed that this university, which I also did my undergraduate studies in, has become a cesspool of hate, and this institution has basically become a place where administration and others are doing the governor's bidding in Gainesville. I think it's outrageous. I think that students have a lot of power, a lot of agency. I truly believe that we have the power to change things, and I'm here just to assert my voice, to show the administration that I am here. People like me are here, and they're angry, they're fed up, and they're not going to put up and tolerate the hate. I think it's a big shame that in a state as diverse as Florida, I'm from Miami, and to see diversity, equity, and inclusion being attacked, to see black professors leave this institution, to see trans professors leave this institution, and students not feeling safe while they're getting their education at a supposed top 5 public institution in this nation is laughable, and it's really embarrassing. And I think that I don't know what this administration will look like in a couple of years. Hopefully there's an abrupt change. I don't know if that's too radical of a thought, but I'm hopeful that things will get better because the Gator Nation, I guess, deserves better. So,
do each of you want to share maybe a specific concern that you have with Sasse as president?
I have a lot of concerns. First and foremost, I think it's incredibly problematic for a incoming president of a public institution like UF, who offers so many diverse programs, to say that there are certain majors that shouldn't be basically existing and that aren't profitable, as if we come here to get education to serve as, these little capitalist agents. I mean, people come here to learn what they feel like it. I mean, it takes a lot of commitment, a lot of hard work and dedication and luck sometimes to get into this university in the first place. So I think that that's really, really scary.
We can keep going. Unless you guys don't watch the
Yeah, so I think my main concern is Ben Sasse being a politician and not someone who I see as like invested in Florida or its higher education. He just came here. I'm under the impression he came here because DeSantis asked him to and told him to. And I think there hasn't been transparency about the process he got elected through and all of this. So I think that's my main concern with him, not to mention all of the policies that he's supporting. I take issue with a lot of DeSantis's policies, especially on guns and education.
For me, the biggest thing with Ben Sasse as president is, of course, him being kind of like the political arm that is extending into our education, way past the level that I think is acceptable at all. Thinking about how he has spoken about how he wants to ensure that students have access to free speech or like the marketplace of thoughts, and how when you look deeper than his words, it's like there's only a specific type of thought or specific type of kind of political allegiance that he's going to probably cater to, and it's deeply disturbing that a space where we're coming to learn, to engage with other people, engage with other cultures, and learn about other cultures has people, faculty, students like running, out of the state because it's almost like the overreach it's irredeemable. Like there's no reason for people to be ashamed of going to this school, but it kind of seems like we're all hunkering down and looking for a space to kind of ensure that we're all free equally, and the UF doesn't feel like it's going to be that with Sasse in power.
Do you think talks about how Sasse might be connected to kind of the broader politics around education?
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely think my specialization is in education for my master's program, and I can trace kind of lingering effects of other bans against ethnic studies across the U.S. We can see that kind of happening here slowly but surely with the news about the reworking of AP African American Studies, for example. It just seems clear that Ben Sasse is kind of paving the way to kind of extend that arm of political overreach into education. So beyond the higher education sphere, into K-12 classrooms, it seems like UF is going to be that breeding ground for him to kind of test out how far he can go with manipulating coursework, pushing out faculty,
Yeah. I agree. I think Ben Sasse has ulterior motives. I don't think that he's completely dedicated to our education at all in any sense. I don't think that he cares whether we have a complete education or not. I think that he wants censorship. For my studies in particular, I'm a historian and I specialize a lot in Afro-Latin history, and that is a topic that will be severely impacted by Ben Sasse's recent policies. And so, from a personal standpoint, it's just really troubling.
Yeah, I'll echo what Tanya said about the K through 12 education. I've been hearing about it being instituted here in Gainesville. And I think that's really concerning because the less educational freedom that younger students have, the less people are going to come to higher education, and the less they're going to be open to studying things like Latin American studies or Afro-Hispanic studies, all of that. So, and then eventually the less professors will have, and I think that's what they want. They want they're white supremacists. So it's incredibly concerning.
Yeah, just to kind of reiterate what I mentioned earlier, I do believe that Ben Sasse's appointment, if we can call it that, because I don't think that it was a very transparent process, and the clear fact that the state of Florida changed the law to make these presidential search committees secret during this, I think is a clear tell of the ulterior motives of Sasse's appointment here to be president of the University of Florida. I think he's here, as some folks here have showed in their protest signs, he is a puppet for the DeSantis administration, who has very obvious and very blatant, ugly, heinous culture wars happening, despite a myriad of other more important issues occurring in the state of Florida. So I really think that Ben Sasse, kind of serving as the head of state, if you will, or the head of the university here, shows a clear message to students who don't fit their bill of what this Western civilization should look like. It's quite concerning. It's quite scary. On top of talks of Ben Sasse thinking that some majors we should just do away with. I know that the University of Florida has received $3 million for the Hamilton Center for Civilization Studies, and apparently when DeSantis announced that he would be doing away with the DEI initiatives at all public universities, that students would also be required to enroll in this Western Civilization Studies course, whatever that means. And if any indication, my public schooling years, K through 12 system in Florida shows it's an incredibly whitewashed, problematic, white supremacist agenda, and I don't think it has any place in a state institution like UF.
Does anyone have any final thoughts, burning thoughts on this?
Also hearing about the money that they're spending on the personal president's mansion/pool is just another clear tell, as Sophie said. I think that the money that students like us are putting in, the money that taxpayers are paying to this university, are not going to students' interests. They're going to the 1%, and that needs to stop. We need a president who has the students' interests in mind and has diversity as a priority, and sustainability.
Thank you all
Thanks
so much for talking. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for giving us a platform.
Oh, of course. Happy to. Yeah, great.